Picture this for a moment. You're at home. You're hanging out in your living room, your kitchen, or even your bedroom. Suddenly, a stranger appears, holding a camera, and asks you if it's okay to take some pictures of you or record some video of you doing whatever it is that you're doing. They say they will then take these photos with them and analyze them very closely, right down to what you're doing, what you're wearing, and even random objects that appear in the background of these pictures and videos. You ask why, and they say it will help them get to know you better, your likes, your dislikes, your interests, and more. Basically, they want to learn as much as they possibly can about you using these pictures and videos. Lastly, they say that they will only do any of this as long as you provide them with written consent. They're awfully polite, don't you think? So, with all this in mind, what would you say? Would you agree? For those that are completely insane and would say yes, we get it, YOLO or whatever you crazy kids say these days. For the rest of us, the answer would most likely be hard no. Who wants some weirdo taking pictures of us and collecting data from them? Gross. Unfortunately, if you answered no to this question, I've got some bad news. If you use any form of social media, then you've already agreed to this scenario. The stranger in your house collecting data from your pictures and videos, it's your cell phone. That supercomputer in your pocket is a lot more powerful and nosy than you may think. But it's no secret, social media companies utilize as much of our personal data as they possibly can to help paint the best possible picture of you as a person without having to actually meet you. It's very possible that they already know a lot about you, including your likes, your dislikes, and your interests based on how you operate on their platform. This includes interactions with other users, the things you search for, and things you post, like, share, or comment on. These platforms have been doing this for quite some time now. However, one platform in particular is now pushing the limits. Welcome to this week's Media Moment. You might be thinking, how? How did they get my consent to conduct this deep dive into my life? I feel so violated. Well, remember when you signed up and were asked to agree to the terms and conditions and their privacy policy? That was it. The second you ticked that little checkbox or clicked I agree when creating an account, you entered a legally binding contract with that platform. And you probably didn't read a single word of those agreements, did you? To be fair, no one really does, except lawyers. Maybe. Once accepted, these platforms release the hounds, and by hounds I mean algorithms. And some of them are immensely complex and self-learning, and they analyze every aspect of your activity on a social media platform to collect data about you. This data is then utilized for several different things that can either improve their platform or turn a profit. This includes anything from simple quality of life features offered by the platform, like friend suggestions or accounts to follow, all the way to selling this data to companies who are looking to advertise. With access to your data, these companies can measure whether or not you fit a specific demographic that they may be interested in tapping into. If you've ever Googled something and then see an ad on social media that is exactly what you were searching for earlier, congratulations, you've been targeted. Relax, targeted by ads, not the mafia. Now, beyond it being a bit weird, it's nothing to worry about. As far as your actual personal information goes, they don't use that. Don't panic. Although, if you use TikTok, maybe panic a little. On Wednesday last week, the platform updated their privacy policy, as almost all platforms do on a regular basis. It's usually just basic edits, typically on a small scale that wouldn't necessarily change how you use the platform. This time, however, certain users who took the time to see just what was updated found some things that were a bit alarming. In the section titled Information We Collect Automatically, there is a paragraph labeled Image and Audio Information. Within this paragraph, there are a few things mentioned that many people have expressed concern with, like the fact that they will now, quote, collect information about the images and audio that are a part of your user content. More specifically, identifying the objects and scenery that appear, the existence and location within an image of face and body features and attributes, the nature of the audio, and the text of the words spoken in your user content. To put it simply, they will use algorithms to analyze almost every aspect of the short-form videos you post to collect data that helps them in many ways, including things like the development of special video effects, content moderation, and other non-personally identifying operations. As mentioned earlier, they're using this data to either improve their platform and its user experience, or to show you advertisements that are more specific and relevant to you. It sounds sinister, but it's really just to provide you with a more personalized experience, as well as an extremely advanced form of marketing. Welcome to the future. If you thought that was the alarming part, buckle up for this next edition. The paragraph continues on, stating that TikTok will now, quote, collect biometric identifiers and biometric information, such as face prints and voice prints. They follow that up with some reassurance that they will request permission to do this where required by law before they do it. Again, to dumb it down a bit, they will be scanning and analyzing your face and your voice and collecting that data. Adding on to this, popular tech news site TechCrunch, who first reported on this, brought up an interesting point in their initial article. The platform mentions that it will request permission only where required by law. As of today, there are only 5 states who have biometric privacy laws in place that protect citizens by requiring companies to ask for consent before any data can be collected. The article then begs the question, will this new privacy policy clause apply to state law or federal law? If they decide to go the route of state law, that leaves 45 other states and millions of users potentially being left in the dark, having no knowledge that their faces and voices are being collected and used by TikTok. Another strange aspect of this is that unlike the first section that explains what they're doing and what they use it for, they don't specify what exactly they're going to do with these face and voice prints.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa.
It's completely fair for users to be concerned by this. It's important for them to know what this fairly personal information is going to be used for. TechCrunch goes on to say that they reached out to TikTok to request additional details. However, the platform couldn't offer any actual information, despite their continued promise of transparency. It's about time for TikTok users to weigh the pros and cons of this somewhat terrifying news. Are they willing to risk 2 of the most identifiable aspects of their identities to continue creating content, or do they care more about the invasion of their privacy? Only time and a more detailed explanation from one of the most popular social platforms on the planet will tell.